Friends, today is Monday, the 7th of December, and we're back in my room in the rectory. It's my day off, and we have a beautiful gospel today and a beautiful first reading from the prophet Isaiah. The gospel is one of bustling and excitement and activity. Jesus is preaching and teaching, it says, there were so many people around him that people couldn't get through even to see him. And it says that people came from Jerusalem, from Judea and Galilee. In other words, from the whole country itself. Galilee at the north, Judea at the south, the city of Jerusalem. And we're at the very beginning of the public ministry in the Gospel of Luke. The public ministry begins in the 4th chapter, and we're here in the 5th chapter of the Gospel of Luke. And in that 4th chapter, Jesus began his public ministry at the synagogue in Nazareth, and he said that the Spirit of the Lord is upon him to bring glad tidings to the poor, liberty to captives. And thus, the power of God, the power of the Spirit is in him. And in the reading today, it says that Jesus was teaching Pharisees and teachers and all, and the power of the Lord was with him for healing. The power of the Lord was with him for healing. And people must have had a sense of that somehow, in that excitement, that this maybe is the one of whom Isaiah spoke. In that first reading from the prophet Isaiah, the eyes of the blind will see, the ears of the deaf be cleared. Then will the lame leap like a stag, then the tongue of the mute will sing. And thus in our gospel today it says, some men brought on a stretcher a man who was paralyzed. But they couldn't get through. And it's a story where they go up onto the roof and break through the roof so that they can lower the man to Jesus. And when Jesus sees their faith, the faith of those who carried, sees their faith, he cures the man. And even more surprising, Jesus says to him, your sins are forgiven. You know, sometimes in our sinfulness, we too feel paralyzed. Our sinfulness paralyzes us that we are so bound and sort of imprisoned in that sinfulness that we are paralyzed. And here Jesus recognizes that and frees the man. The captive goes free. You know, if we translate this into our contemporary situation, I wonder how many of our brothers and sisters find themselves in that same condition, paralyzed. They can't approach Jesus. And whatever that paralysis is in our situation today, maybe it's some kind of sinfulness, maybe some feeling of unworthiness, maybe a bad experience with the church. There could be any sort of reasons, you know. Oftentimes the gospel will present people who wish to see Jesus, but there are obstacles in the way, a crowd, for example, here. Or say, someone by the side of the road, and the disciples say, you know, be quiet, let the master pass by. And Jesus says, bring that person forward. In other words, obstacles. Jesus overcomes all obstacles to approach us. But maybe we, as evangelizers, can assist as well. A word of encouragement to a person, perhaps, who has fallen away from the church. Maybe be a good example. Maybe a word of forgiveness. Maybe a word of explanation. What can we do to remove the obstacles that get in the way? You know, yesterday, Sunday, my homily referred to God as the helicopter God. A helicopter God. Helicopters need a place to land. And we have to kind of clear the way so that that helicopter God can land within us. What are the obstacles? What are the obstacles that get in the way of the Lord coming to us? What are the obstacles that get in the way of our coming to the Lord, like this paralyzed man? But once we do, Of course, healing is present there. Again, from the prophet Isaiah, streams will burst forth in the desert, rivers in the steppe. The burning sands will become pools, the thirsty ground, springs of water. We live in the Messianic times, and all of those things are possible. Those whom the Lord has ransomed will return and enter Zion. Let's return, and let's bring our brothers and sisters with us to the Lord, who welcomes us and heals us. Hold that thought, and we'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow is the solemnity of the Immaculate Conception.